What if I told you that cats didn't just move into our home, they took over our hearts, our routines, and maybe even our species? Think about it. Dogs were trained to fetch, herd, and guard. Horses carried us through battles and built civilizations. But cats, they never applied for the job. Somehow, we ended up serving them gourmet meals, buying expensive toys they'll ignore, and building entire kingdoms of furniture just for their naps. So here's the real question. Did we domesticate cats? Or did cats domesticate us? This story dates back thousands of years to when wild hunters roamed the African grasslands, and humans were just beginning to learn how to plant their first crops. In this video, we're exploring 7 fascinating truths that reveal how cats may have quietly trained humans to adore, protect, and obey them all while looking cute enough to get away with anything. Number 1. The wild hunters that found us. Long before cats curled up on sofas or photobombed our video calls, they ruled the wild. The first ancestors of our house cats were the African wildcats, sleek, solitary hunters that roamed the savannas of Africa and parts of Asia. They weren't cuddly, they weren't social. They were fierce territorial predators with lightning reflexes and eyes built for the hunt. But here's where things get interesting. Despite their independence, these wildcats weren't entirely strangers to humans. Thousands of years ago, early farming communities began to notice something, a shadow moving along the edges of their camps, graceful and silent. These cats weren't after people. They were after something smaller, sneakier, and far more annoying, rodents. As humans started storing grain, they unknowingly threw a dinner party for mice and rats. And when the wildcats followed the feast, they brought balance to the chaos. Suddenly, farmers realized these silent hunters weren't threats but allies. In that moment, something extraordinary began. Wildcats learned that humans meant food and safety. Humans learned that cats meant peace and pest control. It wasn't affection yet, but it was the spark of a partnership that would change history. And from then on, one truth began to unfold. Humans thought they were tolerating cats, but cats were already studying us. Number 2. The Great Grain Revolution. Around 10,000 years ago, humans changed everything. We put down our spears, picked up seeds, and invented farming. Villages grew, harvests stacked up, and for the first time, people had food to store. But where there's grain, there are uninvited guests. Mice, rats, and every other little grain thief you can imagine. That's when the wildcats made their move. They wandered into our settlements like tiny freeloaders, attracted by the sudden explosion of easy prey. To them, early farms were all-you-can-eat buffets guarded by clumsy humans. Here's the twist. We didn't invite them in. They invited themselves. While dogs were bred to obey and guard, cats just showed up. They saw a good deal and took it. Those who were calm enough to hang around people received the best meals and the safest places to rest. Over time, those friendlier, braver cats had more kittens, and little by little, their wild edge softened. Archaeologists even found proof of this unexpected friendship in a burial site in Cyprus that is approximately 9,600 years old, where a human and a cat were laid to rest together. No cage, no leash, just side by side, as equals. So while we like to say we domesticated cats, the truth is funnier. Cats domesticated themselves. We built the farms, they built the plant. And before long, they weren't just helping us fight pests. They were learning how to win something far more valuable, which is our affection. Number 3. The self-domestication mystery. Most animals were domesticated through control. Humans picked the ones that were useful, gentle, or obedient, and bred them to behave the way we wanted. That's how wolves became dogs, wild boars became pigs, and jungle fowl turned into chickens. But cats? They didn't wait for permission. No one tamed the cat tamed the situation. They realized that staying close to humans came with benefits like food, shelter, and warmth. But without surrendering independence, the friendlier ones got more food and survived longer, slowly passing down calm, tolerant traits. The result was a creature that looked wild, but acted just tame enough to fit in. And while humans thought they were being clever by letting cats hang around for pest control, the cats were studying us. They learned how to use sound, eye contact, and even body language to achieve their goals. Those adorable meows you hear? Wild cats don't do that. Adult meowing is something cats are taught to avoid from kittenhood because it works on humans. They discovered that mimicking the tone of a baby's cry could trigger our instinct to feed, comfort, or respond. In other words, cats cracked the human code. So when your cat meows at you like they're filing a complaint about dinner, remember you're not communicating with them. They're manipulating you. Number 4. The Egyptian obsession. By the time cats reached ancient Egypt, they weren't just tolerated guests. They were legends. Egyptian art, temples, and even tombs celebrated cats as creatures of mystery and power. They weren't household pets, they were divine roommates. The Egyptians saw something sacred in the way cats moved, calm, graceful, and utterly self-assured. They protected grain from rodents, guarded homes from snakes, and carried themselves like royalty. Eventually, people began to treat them like royalty as well. They were worshipped through Bastet, the cat-headed goddess of home, fertility, and protection. Families prayed to her for good fortune, and harming a cat became an unthinkable crime. When a household cat died, families shaved their eyebrows in mourning. Archaeologists have uncovered massive cat cemeteries filled with carefully mummified felines, proof that their status was more divine than domestic. But Egypt's devotion had a strange side. In their effort to honor cats, people bred and sacrificed thousands of them for religious rituals. It's a reminder that even in worship, humans struggled to understand the creature they adored. Still, this era sealed the cat's position in human life forever. They had climbed from wild predator to household deity not by changing who they were, but by letting humans believe they were the chosen ones. Number 5. The second domestication in China. While Egypt was building pyramids and worshipping cats as divine protectors, another, completely separate cat story was unfolding thousands of miles away in ancient China. And this time, it didn't start with the African wildcat, it started with a spotted cousin called the leopard cat. Archaeologists excavating a 5,000-year-old Chinese farming village called Quanhukun discovered something incredible: cat bones carefully buried beside homes, indicating that humans there not only lived with cats but also cared for them. But these weren't the same cats found in Egypt. They were smaller, wilder, and covered in leopard-like spots. So why were they there? The answer is surprisingly familiar. Just like before, humans had grain. Grain attracted mice, and mice attracted cats. But this time, the cats didn't wait for an invitation. They moved in, hunted, and slowly became trusted neighbors. Evidence even shows that villagers shared food with them, a sign of early affection. But here's the twist. These Chinese cats eventually disappeared. Historians believe that when traders began connecting Asia and the Middle East, Felis catus, the striped cats we know today, arrived from the West. The leopard cats simply faded from human homes, or maybe, in true cat fashion, they decided they'd had enough and walked away. Number 6. How cats rewired us for obedience. For centuries, humans have believed that we're the ones in charge and that we trained cats to fit into our lives. But look closer, and you'll see something wild. Cats didn't just join us, they changed us. Scientists call it neoteny, the evolution of baby-like traits into adulthood, like round faces, wide eyes, small noses, and playful gestures. Humans are biologically wired to protect anything that looks cute. Cats figured that out long before we did. They evolved to stay irresistibly kitten-like, triggering our nurturing instincts every time they blink, stretch, or tilt their heads just right. Then came the sound. Adult wildcats don't meow, only kittens do. But domestic cats realized that meowing melted human hearts, so they kept it. Not only that, they adjusted their pitch to match the frequency of a baby's cry. Without saying a word, they trained our brains to respond, feed, comfort, and adore them. Even the soothing purr isn't just affection. It vibrates at a frequency proven to lower human stress and promote healing. Every time your cat curls up beside you and starts to purr, your heartbeat slows. You relax, you bond. And the cat learns, once again, how easily they can shape your mood. So did we domesticate them, or did they domesticate us? Maybe the truth purrs somewhere in between, and we're the ones trained to listen. Number 7. Who really owns who? Look around your home. The warm bed, the full bowl, the carefully curated pile of toys that somehow end up under the couch. Now ask yourself, who's really in charge here? Every sign points to one truth. Cats never fully surrendered their wildness. They still hunt, stalk, and observe with quiet mastery. But instead of chasing prey through the grass, they've learned to capture something else: our devotion. They've reshaped our routines around theirs. We wake up when they meow. We rearrange furniture for their comfort, and we whisper apologies when they decide the food isn't up to standard. Dogs may have given us loyalty, but cats earned influence. They didn't just live beside us. They made us build a world that revolves around them. From the wild savannas of Africa to royal palaces and modern apartments, cats have written one of evolution's most clever success stories. They never needed to change who they were. They simply convinced humans to evolve into better hosts. The story of cats isn't just about evolution. It's about connection. Somewhere along the way, we stopped being the ones in charge and started being the ones who cared. And maybe that's precisely how cats planned it. If you've ever wondered how this bond plays out with one of the most majestic breeds on the planet, there's more to explore. Tap the video on your screen to learn everything you should know before welcoming a Maine Coon into your life.